Hey, you. Yeah, you. What you doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm starting my week off right with Talking About the Blues podcast, baby.
What's going on? What's going on? You are now bluesing with the number one blues broadcast in New York City, talking about the blues, baby. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, like the Facebook page, and subscribe to the website. Stay tuned for our live interviews, baby. Keep bluesing. What's going on, good folks? Welcome to another blues and groovy episode of Talking About the Blues. And I am joined, I don't even know where to begin. I'm joined by the Undaunted Professor Harp. Brother Harp, what is going on?
Not too much. Right now, I'm just chilling at home.
I dig it. I dig it. As I always say, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about your blues journey, which has been a long, very successful journey. I mean, you've played, man, muddy waters.
Well, I wouldn't call it successful. I'm still fighting, trying to get, more recognition, especially up here in New England. But I started back, when the blues revival started happening back in the late 60s. And that's what really got me, turned on to blues. B.B. King started making it big then, and then Junior Wells, Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters, Bobby Bland,
Wow.
A lot of the people that, were really playing blues, James Cotton, they started getting, more popular.
Right.
Or getting more work, and I got into it, and I came of age, in the late 60s. I'm 64 now. And I came of age in the late 60s, and the two big things was, the Black Power movement, a lot of that, which, really hinged or came in, reared up again after the civil rights movements during the 60s.
Right.
And also during the Vietnam War, so I was getting very politically conscious at the time, too.
And as we know, the blues addresses social injustices and issues. So
Absolutely.
So this is like a perfect marriage.
Well, absolutely. I was, see, I lived in a town in Massachusetts, in Bridgewater, Mass. At the time, Southern Mass, and there weren't too many black people. Well, let's say African Americans, that were there. I mean, there were a lot of Portuguese, there were a lot of Cape Verdeans, and so like that, but not really regular down-home American, blacks. And I had dealt with my share of racism too. I mean, we didn't have the segregated cans, but a lot of the attitudes are still there, And,
right.
I had to deal with that. I mean, it's like a civil rights activist said up here. We talk about down south, well, here is up south.
Right. Right.
And, the only thing is, like down south, they're honest about it. Up here, they're more, it's more of a subterfuge. It's more, subdued. But it's still there.
It's still there. It's still lingering.
So I could really relate to the blues, and just the way when I heard it, when I first heard it, once I really got into it, it grabbed me, guitar, and then when I heard an electric harp, I never heard an electric harp before at the time, and I used to think harmonicas were toys.
Wow.
Little did I know at the time. I mean, you heard, people playing with, like, jokes like David Seville and the Chipmunks, Alvin's new harmonica, and, people making stupid, and Dylan, sounds kind of stoned with everybody must get stoned and all that, But hear, Little Walter, what he could do, or James Cotton, or George Smith, who's my biggest influence, George Harmonica Smith.
Well, that was my next question you just answered.
Yeah. You didn't hear that until you went out and saw them. And once I saw that, that was it. I got bit by the bug. Because I started out as a drummer. And,
Okay.
I played, top 40, pop stuff and everything, all that I'd listen to, like watching,
Soul Train, American Bandstand?
Yeah, that too, yeah. Gene Krupa and stuff like, listen to Cozy Cole, because, my dad used to listen to a lot of jazz and stuff, and,
Okay.
blues and stuff too,
So you started out as a jazz drummer?
Well, not really jazz. Like I said, I started out, playing, top 40.
Okay.
But once I saw the harmonica, the bug bit me, and that was it.
So prior to the blues bug biting you, you already had a drive or a passion for music to the point where you were playing.
Well, I was always trying to find a band, but I couldn't. It was always a frustration of not being able to find the players. That was very frustrating. But I still always had the bug to play. Yes.
And then we come to this moment. Do you remember the show that introduced all this to you?
Oh yes, I do.
Walk us through that, please.
In fact, I just got a thing on Facebook. Somebody sent me the poster. It was back in April of '69, I believe. And it was a hell of a show. It was headlined by Albert King.
Wow.
Okay. And Albert King and his band at a place called the Boston Tea Party.
How ironic is that?
Tea party I can stand nowadays. But that was a place. It was on Berkeley Street down the south end of Boston. And at the same time, opening was Big Mama Thornton and Rod Piazza and George Smith.
Wow, so you got to see the actual legends live.
Right.
Jeez.
And like I was telling you, like when we were, eating that time when I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, if I could kick my own butt, I would, because I was leaning on a car with George Smith, and I didn't know who he was. And had I said something about, like, my desire to play harmonica, I'm sure he would have taken me, shown me some pointers, or, taken me under his wing whenever he came around or something like that,
Absolutely.
Because he was the type of guy to do that, from what I hear, from a lot of people.
Now, it's funny you said that, and I want to talk about that before I go into the next question. Do you find that more blues artists tend to be more welcoming and share their musical wisdom than artists that play other genres of music? Because I hear this more in the blues than anywhere else.
I think so. Although it might change it, because the whole paradigm of blues had changed, today, than what it was, when I got into it, From my experience, it's still a lot of cliques and jealousy, Not much as like probably in the rock world or something like that, but it's changed because. But back in the day, it was kind of like in the hippie days, and people I think were more open to, I believe.
Right, we're more open to a community of musicians. Everybody is part of this, rather than, okay, I got to get this $1 million.
Well, I believe so. But things had changed, because there was always a problem. And it was a situation that I've really railed against for a while. Once I started getting that black awareness that American blacks have thrown away the blues. I've said that many times. I said that a million times. If I had a penny for every time I've said that, I'd be a very wealthy man. I wouldn't have to worry about money at all.
I dig it.
But somebody's. I've said it before. Somebody sold black Americans a bill of goods, thinking that it brings back old times, and the old times are still here. Really, see what happened down in South Carolina.
Yeah, you know, and now that you've mentioned it, not only what happened at the church, but that particular church in South Carolina, the 9 people being murdered, but in the past week, 5 black churches have been burned down. So
Yeah, I heard about that. And you didn't hear about that, so much, on mainstream TV. I saw about it on Facebook.
right, I didn't hear about that on mainstream TV at all, and I work in the industry. So we're pretty much living those days again, or it just never ended.
Well, I think it just went underground. It's, there have been, obviously, some progress and diversity, but we still have a long way to go.
Right. So you know what? Let's talk about the fact that a music that was birthed through the oppression of the black experience, and the last couple of generations, the majority of black people, African Americans, well, actually, longer than that. Besides and this definitely, I'm definitely removing the Langston Hughes and people like that always wrote about the blues. But I'm talking about the other black folk that kind of wanted to separate themselves from that because it kind of made them feel as if they were removing themselves from that era of blackness, meaning oppression, Jim Crow, hanging, the whole spiel.
Yeah, but have we really? Like I was saying before, I always say, we don't go to segregated cans in hotels and restaurants anymore and playgrounds so much, although I don't know about that.
Right.
But, but the same racism is still there, redlining.
Right.
The fight against affirmative action, the idea that it's a post-racial society. Like they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
So and now this is definitely your opinion, and I ask every artist, whether they're blues musician, historian, enthusiast, or whatever the case may be. Why do you think that there's a disconnect between the African American community and the blues? I mean, there's a percentage, but there's a huge disconnect. So why do you have a?
Well, I've always said that somebody sold us a bill of goods. It's all part of the history, and you got to be proud of the whole history.
Right.
What we overcame and the whole bit. It's much like Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Wow.
When you really read the original Uncle Tom, he was really a hero because he took all the bullshit that he took and everything, and all the disrespect, the whole bit.
He's resilient.
And yeah. And we're still looking out for the people. Because he couldn't fight back because he would have gotten lynched.
Right. So he was actually the movie The Butler is a good comparison to the original Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's the blues.
Hey guys, let me tell you how you can get official Talking About the Blues merchandise. Go to our online store at www.talkingabouttheblues.com where you can purchase t-shirts, hoodies, mouse pads, mugs, and iPad cases. Once you receive your merchandise, send us a pic and we'll post it on our website and different social media sites to let people know you are a part of the Talking About the Blues community. Keep bluesing.
So now, bringing it back to your musical journey, you played with some big blues legends, my brother.
Well, yeah, I never worked with them. Never had the chance to go on the road with them because things were really tough. It wasn't in the real heyday. It was like in a resurgence. But I mean, Muddy Waters. And like I said, I hope to go through the whole family because I played with his son, Big Bill Morganfield.
Big Bill.
One time, yeah. And if I can get to play with Mud Morganfield, essentially like Muddy Waters Jr., really.
Right.
Talking about, I would have gone through the whole family, and, like I was saying, Mud paid me a compliment, because I had seen, like he had seen a couple of my clips, when I was jamming with a band. He said, "Yeah, man, you got little Walter all over you,
Wow.
So
That's a humongous compliment.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, well, it's like and Muddy Senior himself, he said, "Yeah, man, you're gonna be a bad harp player, boy." So I don't feel too bad for a New England-born Steve Urkel had to rediscover the roots.
Hey, listen.
I don't, because I mean, like I was telling you earlier, when I was in New York, I had to expose myself to it more because my folks didn't come from the dirty South, such as you or a lot of other people. They came from the North South, which I call like Virginia, North Carolina.
Right.
As opposed to Alabama, Mississippi, or Louisiana, or someplace like that.
Right. I dig it.
I had so it wasn't like they had Muddy Waters and Charlie Patton and all those guys and Sonny Boy Williamson were number one on on any available records at the time.
I dig it.
So I had to like dig it up, and it was a very kind of a convoluted road. All because I would listen to like guys like Butterfield and back in those days the white guys opened the doors for a lot of the black guys.
Right.
Today it's been more of you see more of a co-opting, kind of the like I've called it the Pat Boone Syndrome. That's not to say there aren't some sincere white dudes that that play it, but
right. No, I didn't take it that way.
What's really bad though is being the blacks are really marginalized from the blues, and that doesn't make any kind of sense at all.
No, it really actually does not. Whether it's music, whether it's just day-to-day interactions, or whether it's an extreme case like we just mentioned in South Carolina, most people just don't want to discuss the race problem. They'd much rather either throw insults or deem someone a racist.
I mean, nobody wants to. I mean, the first thing to start solving a problem is first talking about it. And if you talk about it too much, they say you're being divisive.
Right.
When you're just when you're speaking out against injustice, you're being divisive.
And all I could do is really laugh at that. Because there's nothing really, But now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
You played on NBC's Today Show with Luther Guitar Jr. Johnson.
Yes, I played with him. Worked with Luther. I played on the Today Show about let's see, my son was 6 years old, so that's almost 30 years ago. Yeah. Damn, where'd the time go? There was a guy, I'm still in touch with this cat sometime now. He used to be on NBC, he's retired now, Mike Leonard, correspondent.
Right.
And at the time, I was with the Cambridge Harmonica Orchestra. And the Cambridge Harmonica Orchestra was founded by a cat named Otis Reed down in Rhode Island. And the guy that wound up leading it was a cat named Pierre Beauregard, who was, I'm still pretty cool with Pierre today. But, I mean, the irony of it is Pierre Beauregard is like the great-great-great-great-great-grandson of the Confederate general.
Oh, wow.
And not only that, the one that started the Civil War, Pierre Beauregard.
Wow.
And not only that, he looks like him.
Imagine that.
I seen pictures of General Beauregard in there. It looks just like Pierre, only with a short haircut. Put a harmonica in his hand, and if you were to Photoshop it, a Cambridge Harmonica Orchestra T-shirt, and it looked just like his great whatever grandson.
Wow.
Yeah, and Pierre, oh yeah, well, I saw Pierre not too long ago. Paul Osher, Brooklyn Slim came up to Boston. I went in and met Osher again and sat in with him, and Pierre was there, so You know, so I still, you know, stay in touch with PA. I mean, Cat's a genius on harmonica. He played bebop, and you know, he said he don't play blues anymore, but you know, he was, you know, touted as being like blowing like Little Walter. I mean, he's a very, very great harmonica player. You know? He's a mad genius, really. You know.
That's dig it. I dig
so,
it.
I mean, how's that for irony, right?
Yeah, that's a big irony.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So you know, I mean, you know, but then we went in the subway in Boston, and I was playing singing "Trouble in Mind," you know, and that's what they put on there, you know. So you know, that came out all right, and I played with Luther Johnson. I played with Solomon Burke. That's how I got the title Professor, because I used to wear gold rimmed glasses when I was 25.
You just answered my next question.
Yeah, he used to call me Professor Harmonica Holmes, and because I used to wear gold rimmed glasses, and just say I had to study ebonics. you know. So I knew I knew how to say Massachusetts the right way. You know? So I played with Jimmy Witherspoon. You know.
Wow.
Let's see, Fred Below.
Wow.
And Lacey Gibson and the Ace, Dave Myers of the Aces in Chicago. I mean, that was real cool. You know, there. You know.
And you also just had a show in New York recently with.
Well, I just did that with Joshua too. That was great.
There at the at the
Madiba.
Yes, in Harlem.
Yeah, that was great playing to a black audience there in Harlem.
I dig it. So let's talk about let's talk about that album, the latest album that I be bumping, because that's some blues there, man. You howling some blues.
That's the only one I've got. You know. You know, I mean, because I had to finance it, so you know, I'm not a trust fund baby, so you know, I had to do it myself. You know.
Yeah, I do know, because I'm not a trust fund baby either. It's hard out here for a player.
So I'm still trying to, I got to get some more money up there and get another 1,000 copies out. You know, I'm still trying to do that. But about that, you know, what we tried to do at the time, we did a little bit different. I had bands, but I wanted to, you know, I had an offer I couldn't refuse. Guys, you know, offered me the time to do it and the players and everything for low dollar, so I had to take it.
That's real.
And it was an offer I couldn't refuse. And what we decided to do, I took, you know, like some of the heaviest blues players in Rhode Island, because I'm not that far from Rhode Island. And we did the album that way, you know. And some of the stuff that I, you know, put down, and you know, we beefed it up, and you know, put together, you know, a good rock and roll, roots album, you know, roots, blues and rock and roll.
So let's talk about the inspiration to the album. Where did you pull from?
Well, I pulled from all the roots of, you know, because I mean, on that album you got rock and roll, which I like to play.
Well, wait.
I pulled from Muddy Waters.
Isn't rock and roll just the blues sped up?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, like Muddy Waters says, the blues had a baby and call it rock and roll. And that's quite true. And like rhythm and blues, same thing, you know.
Yes, indeed.
People forget that, you know, R&B, you know, where's the B, you know?
Blues.
Yeah, so you know, there's some like jump blues on there that I like. And I like, I like that rude Texas blues, that Texas march. I always like to talk about a Jimmy Reed type feel.
Yeah, know? The shuffle.
Yeah, that real rude, you know. You know.
Oh yeah.
There's no substitute for that.
Not at all.
Not in the universe. You know, that Louisiana, Texas stuff that works, you know, and everything. But you know, like, and that was cool. That was cool, man. You know, took everything that I learned, you know, and try to put my own spin on it.
So you produced the album and financed it?
Well, I had, you know, like there was a cat named Tom Ferraro did a lot of the producing there, yeah, and I was like production assistant, because I'm still learning, like inside of a studio, you know.
Right.
And you know, Tom Ferraro's guitar player, like he's about the closest thing to Jimmy Vaughn you're gonna find up around New England.
Mm.
And he knew a lot of the guys. We used some of Duke Roblar's sidemen, and we put together a pretty good blues sound guys, because those guys could lay it down.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I used Bob Margolin playing slide on that Muddy Waters type feel that I had, Muddy Waters, Jimmy Rogers type feel called My Life and Exercise in Blue, which is an original.
That's right. These are original songs.
Well, some of them are. A lot of them are covers, too.
Okay.
I think, like My Life and Exercise, I think 4 out of the 10 are originals.
That's groovy.
My Life and Exercise in Blue, Sly Black Fox, Einer for Herr Schmidt, which is a tribute to George Smith, Although, using Leslie Cabin, I should have said something about Jimmy Smith, too. And let's see, Texago Doyle's, which was a harmonica boogie and instrumental I put together one night at a club.
Dig it.
And, so...
Well, you were howling the blues, man.
Well, I was trying to, just doing the best I could. I mean, it got a good review in Living Blues.
Yes, it did. I was going to bring that up next, man. You ahead of me.
Well, I didn't believe it. I was playing a blues festival in Massachusetts, and this cat named Peter Parchak was a very good blues guitarist, eclectic guitarist. From Harp, you wound up in Living Blues. Right? So,
So wait, you didn't even know?
I didn't know because, it didn't. A lot of times the same articles don't come out on the online Living Blues, and you have to go out and find it. I hadn't subscribed to it for a while, and a lot of there ain't no bookshops that always have it.
Right.
Then I found out and got it, and I still have it, of course.
That's groovy. And there was another write-up.
Just recently. About harmonica players. That was back. It'll be a year ago next month. With Grady Champion and Russ Green and Omar Coleman. Got Orange Jefferson, Larry Dixon down in Georgia.
Wow.
So and they wrote about me. So
wait. Are you talking about the blues physician?
Yeah. Larry Dixon. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Doc Dixon.
This is a small, beautiful community of bluesmen.
Yeah. I was up there with some heavy company, some heavy brothers, man. So. So I look at it and I say, well, at least I look the part anyway,
I dig it.
But like I said, I just basically try like hell.
Hey, y'all, this is Mrs. D. You can hear Talking About the Blues podcast on Podomatic, YouTube, and iTunes. Remember to rate the show and show us some love.
Now, see, and this is what we have to... For the fans, for the enthusiasts, for the aspiring artists, we need to maybe give them an idea of what you feel success is. Because, okay, none of us are playing in the platinum $1 million diamond range, but you have a hell of a lot of awards for playing blues. That's some success. That's not easy to do.
Well, I guess not. I try to make myself feel good with that. I still like to get better recognition, though, and more work,
Right.
Because a lot of the work is sold up by clicks, and you got to avoid that.
No, I dig it.
If I could, I can't really teach anybody because I just play by, just put my thing in my mouth and just go for it,
Right.
But do like I did, just steal licks by listening,
So, right. Let's talk about that. Would you say you're not formally trained, but you just listen and engulf yourself?
Well, I took some lessons from a couple of guys, but it's very hard, when you play harmonica because there's no way to really show how to hold your mouth. You can tell them, but like how to use vibrato and how to, with your, the air going down into your throat.
Right, right.
And using your diaphragm, but you can't show fingerings like you do like you play guitar or something like that. See?
Right.
So that's why I always said it's all, it's 99.999% desire.
Mm.
That's the uniqueness of the instrument. I think
You just have to want to do it.
When I first picked it up, I put it down because I couldn't play it.
That sounds like most of us.
Guys like George and those guys with Muddy and Jay Giles and people like that. Then I started playing again.
I mean,
Lee Oscar War like that.
That's groovy.
And so like I'd pick it up, play soul stuff with it and everything. Because I always say if you can play blues, you can play soul. But that's what the blues is the original soul music anyway.
Absolutely. So Southern rock is blues with a church feel.
They got a lot of that stuff from blues,
Yeah, and the church, which is blues.
Yeah, and they got a lot of that stuff from the blues. I don't really like a whole lot of that rocked out stuff with like guitar shredding and all that. I like to hear I like to hear without all the fuzz tones and all that stuff.
Right.
I like to hear the real deal. The real blues.
Well, you know what? I'm happy you brought that up because there's something that you mentioned to me, some advice that you gave me when we first met some time ago. And it was based on the harp player and the guitar player being in sync. Could you share that with the people?
Oh, absolutely. Today, I am not very happy about it because a lot of guitar players don't know how to play rhythm behind a harmonica anymore. Not like the Chicago guys, not like Jimmy Reed or Eddie Taylor. Nothing like that. They're into just playing. They're just into playing leads all the time. And that's even the black guys. That's all they want to do, play leads. I mean, you got to be able to play rhythm behind the stuff.
Right.
And I wouldn't go the other extreme and like Little Walter, not Les guys not play leads, but you got to be able to do both.
Right.
Like that's what I do. I mean, sometimes you put the harp down and sing. That's what I do. Sometimes I'll blow, use the organ effect and play, and blow behind the guitar player or something. I got the best of worlds now.
Right.
Matter of fact, I just finished playing. I played the first time the Memphis Blues. I'm not the Memphis. I wish I did. The Mystic Blues Festival in Mystic, Connecticut. Played that last Saturday.
How was it?
Yeah, not bad. A good start in, foot in the door. So hopefully, a couple of years ago, get another better slot, and do that.
So let's talk about that because I've spoke to a lot of musicians that went to festivals or went down to the IBC International Blues Challenge and we spoke about different processes. You made mention to working your way up to a better slot. What does that mean, first of all, for the audience that don't know? And then how can you go about getting these slots?
Well, the first thing is, when you the first time in, so I kicked off the show, okay? Because my first time I ever played there.
Okay.
So maybe, next time around I can just work myself up until, who knows, down the road you might headline. But,
right.
You still have to, you don't join the Army as a general.
I dig it. I dig it. So it's pretty much, okay, so your first appearance, you have to open the show.
Yeah. And then, so I just, got up and, did what we could do, and they liked it, and hopefully, do it again.
I dig it. Now, is that your scene, the festival scene?
Well, not really. I like to get more festival work. But festival work is very difficult.
How so?
Well, there's a lot of politics involved, and the work is getting very difficult, to get into festivals, because so many people want to get in them.
I dig it.
Very hard.
I dig it. I dig it. So
then again, you got to find festivals too that are reputable and everything, and will pay you right too. Because sometimes some people might want to get funny with the money too.
Yeah, we don't like cats getting funny with the money.
I've had that happen, a couple of times, and I don't like it. So, you got to find, the right ones. So it's not, it's not an easy process,
I dig it.
But I'm hoping, like later on, keep on doing things, and still trying to keep everything going, At least with my guitar player. I got a guitar player up here by the name of Tommy Williams. He's like the closest thing to Steve Cropper you're gonna find in New England.
That's serious.
So
That's serious.
I'm at home with both of the Toms, Ferraro and Williams. I'm at home either way.
I dig it. So what's the blues scene like in New Hampshire?
Well, New England, you mean?
New England.
Well, yeah, because I'm in New England, in the Boston area and everything, and Southern Mass and Rhode Island. Well, it's rough. It's rough because a lot of places are closing down.
Oh man.
So it's not very easy, to get a lot of work, there,
I dig it.
Sustain it because a lot of places. I mean, it'll be I think a year in September. We had a nice little joint in Boston called Smoking Joe's, and it died.
Oh.
It died, and it's too bad because that was the hippest joint. I always enjoyed playing there. It was a real hip joint to play.
I dig it.
The people own it loved the music, and that was cool. But it's very tough because like a lot of people think, a lot of people don't. The blues, what is it? 1% of people like the blues nowadays.
Right. The commercial value is not fully there yet.
No. Well, it hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
So that's why when you have people, you have a lot of people know how to play blues songs, but don't know how to play the blues. If you catch my drift.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, it's a world of difference. I'd make that a universal difference.
Yeah.
Of being able to play the blues or playing blues songs.
Right. Right.
Not a million people can play blues songs.
But can you actually play the blues?
Play the real blues,
Do you have the blues? Do you feel the blues?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can feel it, I guess you don't have to come up on a plantation because I didn't.
You know what? I wouldn't say I came up on a plantation, but sometimes work with somebody else damn sure feel like it.
Well, yeah. Well, like I say, like we were saying earlier, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was kind of stupid to get rid of the blues and everything because, I mean, it's still here. Social factors are there. The whole 9 yards are still here.
Absolutely. So what's next for Professor Harp, the Undaunted?
I'm just going to keep trying, I still try to keep finding work. And who knows, maybe old Josh will call me up again to do the thing down there again. Who knows?
No. Well, we're going to get you down here, bro. You and me ought to do some duo work sometime. Absolutely.
I do some up here, every so often, because, I mean, like, you do a bit of stuff that, I haven't been, really doing it, because my main band, what I do is keep working. I like to do rock and roll, I like the blues, and I like to do some soul stuff that I can handle.
Right.
And I like that, too, so, I mean, because you have to keep working and keep the people working and everything,
Yeah, you're a working musician.
Yeah, but you do, a lot of the slide stuff that I'm not, I haven't really delved into, and that's cool. And I played some of that northern Mississippi stuff too, like with Kent Burnside, which is like, it's real boogie music. I mean, punk rock bands, try to imitate that and everything, because that's what it is,
That's groovy. We got to get you back out here. We got to get you back out here. So why don't you
know where to find me anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
www.professorharp.com has got all my my contact information, the whole 9 yards.
Right, and Facebook and Twitter and everything, right?
Well, Facebook, I got it on there too. Twitter, after a while, I don't do too much because you'll be looking at the computer 24/7.
Right. All right, so look, brother, Professor Harp, it has been an honor chopping it up with you, talk about the blues style.
Well, I just do the best I can and want to keep it alive, as much as I can anyway.
I dig it. You know what? Before we sign off, what is the one thing that you would tell an aspiring or a young artist on the come up?
Well, I say keep trying, never give up.
Dig it.
I mean that's age old advice.
Absolutely.
I mean, you might take a time off, you might step back a little bit, because sometimes I do that, and but never give up.
Just keep going. And
you have to have a love for the music.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of blues that I don't know. I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, like I say, the tip of the iceberg.
But you love the music, and you love to play.
You gotta have a love for the music, and that's the only way it's gonna go. Because if you don't have a love for the music, it ain't gonna work.
I dig it. Now, where can they find the album?
Well, go to my website, www.professorharp.com. It's on iTunes. You can get it from me. You can get it from me at shows. You can get it on Rhapsody, and everything is on my website, www.professorharp.com.
Dig it. Again, my brother, it's been an honor talking about the blues with you.
The pleasure's all mine.
All right, we got to get you back on here. And we got to get you, we're going to get you up here. We're going to talk about that in the next couple of weeks.
All right, well, you know where to find me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if I'm not home, just leave a message. I'll get back to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, much obliged, man.
Much obliged. Once again, y'all been talking about the blues, talking about the blues. And if you don't do nothing, always put God first and keep on bluesing, baby.